My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. I say that because I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41. I was born in 39. And this is my father, King Edward VIII. Um, my father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, an American. My mother's sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. She was legally wed, and this is all a lie. And the gravity of a cover-up like this that's still been covered up should bother somebody. This is the imposter that married the American spy, Wallace Simpson. So the whole thing was a lie that took down my father. His own brother, George, who became the illegal George VI, met with Roosevelt in 39, the year I was born. They were planning my kidnapping. And so the illegal George VI was installed. It was an interim government. My father meant to take it back because there was a forced abdication, and on that abdication it had an addendum or an attachment which was legal, and it said that if he had an heir, that the heir would inherit, and this was all legal. A 99-year seal was put on my father's, quote, forced false abdication. So that should tell you something. So his brother George started the illegal lineage, and this is Elizabeth, who's used my money. She's, wow, rags doesn't even begin to tell what's happened to me here. I was given the name of a twin, Peggy Dempsey. I married a Childers. And I put it on other video. What I wanted to say on this one, and I don't have much time on here. I understand that my SD card's running out, so let me make it short. I wanted to say, first of all, that the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Roosevelt, Joseph Kennedy was ambassador. He and probably his son, JFK and Joseph, they were flying in and out to the embassy there in 41 and prior, and I'm not sure they weren't the ones that flew me out. I don't know how I know they kidnapped me, and my uncle was part of it. So my uncle and Elizabeth, the point I want to make, became a part of the New World Order, Illuminati, Freemasons, and part of the Windsors are way up in the Freemasonry. And so they all got in on the takedown of my father. Power hungry doesn't even, describe it. And it's been 73 years since they kidnapped me. I'm 75. I have two sons who are heirs, Mark and then Scott, and I have no idea where they are. I just hope they're alive and well. Now then, what I wanted to go ahead and say is the Rothschilds, and if you go to YouTube, there's plenty of information other than what I'm giving. But the Rothschilds have been in power a long, long time, and they're married into the Windsors. They're Jewish, and so are the Rockefellers. They own the media. And that's, I wanted to say that Tsar Nicholas, the Rothschilds and the Illuminati, New World Order, they orchestrated the murder and takedown of Tsar Nicholas and his family. Okay, Anastasia was here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I drove through there, never thinking I was going to be living here with all that had been done to me in Roanoke, but I drove through there May the 4th of 84, and she was murdered by Blue Ridge Mental Health. So they've used the mental health system as a weapon, and that was Anastasia. She was married to Professor Monahan at the University of Virginia, who did everything he could to get her out, and they took her and killed her, plain and simple, and lied about it. Now then, isn't it strange that I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, my father's Edward VIII, and they took him down and kidnapped me, and I ended up here in 86, not too far from where Anastasia lived in Charlottesville, I guess maybe 60 miles. So that's part of the point. But the point also is that Elizabeth and her father, George, the illegal George VI, the one the movie was made about, made him out a hero, the King's Speech, not a word of truth in it about any of this. But they joined forces with the very people that helped take down my father. They were taking down my father and kidnapped me, and that orchestrated the death of the family of Tsar Nicholas II. And believe me, they lied about him. You have to make somebody look bad in order to make yourself look good. And that's what they've done. Everything about my father was a lie. My God, he was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. She was Catholic, American, and Irish, and it didn't sit well with some of the Windsors. But really, the whole thing was orchestrated by the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, and my uncle and Elizabeth became a part of it. And Charles and Elizabeth are members and have been photographed with the New World Order. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is that I'm watching in Russia, and that's where Tsar Nicholas, they were killed in the Soviet Union, in St. Petersburg. I don't know if they were killed in St. Petersburg, but shot and everything done to them. But the Americans, two of them, anchors that work for RT, well, I guess it's the Russian media. But anyway, on air, the two of them resigned and stating things about Russia that Russia, I don't remember, quite frankly. I know that to me it was a lie because the Americans have lied. They didn't want to talk to me. The Americans knew about my kidnapping probably when it happened and the takedown of my father. And when I found out, in 83, nobody wanted to hear it. I was just blocked from coming in the doors and everything. No one gave up their job for me. In other words, they lied. They kept their jobs and did anything on earth as they were told to hurt me and my children and toward us in the efforts. The only person that did help was Larry Flint, who was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, next door to Marietta. I was doing a book on mind control murders, and the man that shot Mr. Flint was under mind control. I was flown out during the campaign in 83. It was after then that I started finding out about my real name and inheritance and who I am. And that's what I wanted to state was here you've got two American reporters or anchors who on air gave up their jobs and said that they didn't know what repercussions would befall them or happen to them. Well, the Americans here sure fell in line. They didn't care what happened to me, to my father. Why do you think they made such a fuss over Elizabeth and her sibling, her children, not siblings, but her children? It's was on all the media and everything all the time. While the other royal families, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, they're hardly ever mentioned. But the only thing they have done to me, the media here, is stop me at every crossing. So why do you think the United States is gung-ho at Russia when the United States is the killer bees? The United States has gone into South Africa, which was, or Africa, but South Africa, which was British, when they took over and installed their own monarch, George VI, and then Elizabeth. They installed their own government, which allowed the Americans to put the military bases all over Great Britain, everything British. So the United States certainly didn't go into any of these places with goodwill. They wanted the diamonds. They wanted whatever went with it, whatever wealth was in the country. Same thing with Russia. Do you think they give a rat's about the Ukraine or any of the other people they've gone in and, oh, they're going to loan them money? Then they've got their catch on the Ukraine. And they go in looking like the good guy? They don't to me. You better stop and think of who you're allowing in. But Russia has a lot of wealth. They had Alaska